Hey everyone, this is Rock DIY. I just completed a product review on this multi-purpose hand pump, and I realized that I probably should have included a demonstration of its use. So this is my follow-up video on the multi-purpose hand pump. What I have over here is a 5-gallon bucket filled with water, an empty bucket, and I've got the multi-purpose hand pump. On your first draw of the water, it's not going to expel any water from the end of the hose. It's really just pulling water up into the pump. And then as you push it down, it's going back up inside. And that right there is an example of why you should have a clamp or a second person helping you out. Because if you have any sag in the hose will get heavy and then drag your hose out of whatever you might be emptying your water out of. I mentioned in my previous video, and you can kind of hear it, but the first time I used this has a reverse threading, and this was leaking non-stop as I was pumping it. It is definitely not a continuous siphon type of pump. You will have to pump the entire time to get the water out. And it takes about 4 full strokes of the handle in order to get 1 gallon of water out. Your hose is going to be like that, where you have it sagging down. It's a good thing to have a clamp to hold it onto whatever you might be putting the water in. That's it. So I'm just going to reverse this, put the pump into this pail, and then put the water up inside this bucket that's elevated on the bench here. Just because if you're going to have the hose up above the pump, it becomes a little more complicated. And you definitely want to have a good clamp if you're trying to expel your water somewhere above your pump. The first time I used this multi-purpose pump after I purchased it, I had this case where I had to expel water from down low and have the hose up above the pump. I found out very quickly that I needed something to hold the hose down, because the hose kept getting so heavy that it was dragging it back down into where I was removing water from. So the hose is getting pretty heavy to where it's dragging my bucket over. And you can also see what I was talking about where it leaks pretty bad. So it doesn't really leak when the pump hose is at the same level of the pump or below the handle of the pump, but definitely when you elevate the hose above the pump, it will definitely leak a lot when you go to pump the water out. So in my case, once I got some weight in the bucket stayed in place, but it did attempt to pull the hose out because of the weight of the water in the hose. You can see that the pump continues to leak from all the water that's still in the hose. I've seen a lot of posted reviews of this multi-purpose hand pump, and there's been a lot of bad reviews with as far as purchasing it and using it for the first time. And I think what is happening is, and I don't know if this is, I'm pretty sure there's some bad pumps that just don't work, but I think what's happening in a lot of cases is that right here it says remove the cap at the base of the pump. Well, if you don't read above that, like they say, read all instructions or read the handbook or the owner's manual before using something. Right here it says remove the cap at the base of the pump, and I think people are seeing that and not seeing that it says directions for cleaning, and the only cap that's on this is this one. So if you remove this, and it's got a little one-way check valve right here, it's flexible, so when this is on, when you pump the handle, it's pulling the water through, and then this collapses, creating a seal which prevents the water from flowing back out. But if you take this off and try to use the pump, it will not pump at all. And I think that's what's happening in some cases, is that people see that portion on the pump body, remove this, and then it doesn't work. But if you keep this on here, the pump will function unless there's some other issue with it. But put it back on and the pump will work. I'm going to demonstrate what happens when you remove the cap at the bottom of the pump. So that's completely off. Put the pump in. So it's definitely a lot more difficult to pull the handle, and then when you push it down, you can see all you're doing is pushing the water right back into the bucket, and nothing's going into the hose, and that's because the flap or the valve is not preventing the water from coming back out. Please like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks again.